let me ask you something raw and uncomfortable. What do you do when the woman you trusted the most becomes the one who breaks you the deepest? I'm not talking about a woman you were just talking to. I'm talking about the one you defended in front of your friends, the one you stayed up late calling, the one you pictured a future with, the one you told yourself, no, she's different. She would never do that. What do you do when that woman is the one secretly texting another man, the one entertaining attention behind your back, the one who cheats, lies, or walks away like your heart is disposable? Do you break? Do you explode? Do you go online and start posting emotional quotes? Do you shrink into bitterness and start saying, all women are the same? Or is there another way? A way that doesn't destroy your masculinity, your peace, or your future? Most men don't know what to do with that level of pain. They overthink. They stalk. They compare themselves to the next guy. They replay every memory, wondering, was any of it even real? But what if I told you something that will sound crazy at first? What if I told you that the moment a woman betrays you is not the end of your story? It's the beginning of your awakening. That this heartbreak you're feeling right now, this pressure in your chest, this confusion in your mind, is actually an invitation to stop living as the boy who needs her approval and become the man who cannot be broken by anyone's betrayal. Today, brother, we're going deep into betrayal, into heartbreak, into the kind of pain that can either turn you into a bitter shell of yourself or into a man so grounded that no woman ever has that level of control over your soul again. And if you stay with me till the end, you won't just understand why this happened. You will understand exactly how to respond, how to heal, and how to rise in a way she never expected. But to do that, we have to start with the first brutal truth. Before we continue, brother, please do me a favor. Like this video and subscribe so this message can reach more men. Let's begin. When a woman hurts a man, it's not just betrayal, it's identity collapse. When a woman hurts a man, brother, it's not just betrayal, it's identity collapse. You didn't just lose a woman. You lost the version of yourself that believed, I'm safe here. She wouldn't do this to me. You see, men love differently. A man doesn't randomly choose a woman to open up to. He slowly studies her, tests her, evaluates her, and then, when he finally decides, this is my woman, he gives a part of himself he doesn't give to anyone else. You share secrets. You become soft in your private moments. You plan things in your head you never say out loud. Maybe you started imagining her as the mother of your children. Maybe you started working harder because you thought, I need to build something solid for us. So when she betrays you, when you find the messages, when you notice the energy changing, when she pulls away, or when she suddenly loves attention from other men, it doesn't just hurt. It destroys the storyline you were living in. And here's where most men fail. They think they're mourning her. That girl, that face, that body. But what they're really mourning is the story they wrote about her in their mind. You didn't just lose a girlfriend or a wife. You lost the illusion that this one is different. She's incapable of doing this to me. And that's why it feels like the ground under your feet suddenly disappeared. Your mind goes into shock. Was I blind? Was she pretending the whole time? Did she ever love me? You start replaying conversations, trying to see where the mask dropped, trying to find the exact moment things changed. But here's the painful twist. Sometimes there was no big sign. Sometimes she did mean it when she said she loved you at that time, and still betrayed you later when her emotions shifted. because human beings are not stable. And when you base your entire sense of safety on another human, your identity collapses the moment they change. That's why this first part is important. You need to understand that the pain you feel is not just about losing her. It's about losing a part of yourself, that thought. If I give my all, I'll be safe. And that's why the next thing I'm about to say matters even more. Betrayal from a woman is not rare. It's part of reality. Another thing many men don't understand is this. Betrayal from a woman is not rare. It's not some strange exception. It's not something that only happens to weak men. If you love deeply enough, if you open up fully, if you attach your heart to another human long enough, you are going to meet the darker side of human nature in some form. That doesn't mean all women are evil. It doesn't mean love is pointless. It means this. You must stop being surprised that a human being is capable of doing something ugly. Because when you think, no, she would never, you are not being romantic. You are being naive. And when you're naive, you're not good. You're just vulnerable. Betrayal is part of the human story. People break promises they meant when they said them. People change when life pressures them. People get carried away by attention, ego, boredom, temptation, unresolved trauma. And that includes women. So when you tell yourself, she loved me, so she couldn't have done this, you're thinking in black and white. You're ignoring the reality that a woman can love you in one season, feel numb in the next, get curious about another man in the next, and act on that curiosity if her character is weak. All while still telling herself, I care about him. That's why recognizing the reality of betrayal is not negativity. It's maturity. Because when you stop expecting perfection, you stop being destroyed when imperfection shows up. And that doesn't mean you tolerate it. It doesn't mean you stay. It doesn't mean you accept nonsense. It means this. You stop saying, I can't believe she did this, and start saying, I now see who she really is, and I'll respond accordingly. But here's where most men get stuck. Instead of understanding that betrayal is part of reality, they personalize it. They think, if she cheated, it means I'm not enough. And that's exactly why the next thing we're about to talk about hits even deeper. Her betrayal is about her chaos, not your value. Another thing we have to talk about is the emotional chaos inside the person who hurt you. Women who betray don't do it because you're worthless. Most of the time, they do it because they are unstable inside. She might look composed on Instagram. She might look fine when she posts quotes about self-love and loyalty. But behind that image, there is often fear of being alone, fear of missing out, addiction to attention, emotional immaturity, lack of discipline, unhealed trauma, a need to feel desired by multiple men. Sometimes, she was never taught what real loyalty means. Sometimes, she doesn't even know who she is. So she uses male attention to feel alive. And here's the part that messes men up. You could be doing everything right as a man, providing, protecting, being present, loving her, and she still betrays you. Not because of your lack, but because of her emptiness. But the betrayed male mind doesn't think like that at first. It screams, how could she do this to me? What does he have that I don't? Was I not enough? Did I fail as a man? You start comparing yourself to the other guy, his looks, his money, his lifestyle. And every second you do that, you are handing your self-worth over to a stranger who doesn't even know you. But here's where most men fail. Instead of seeing her betrayal as a mirror of her character, they use it as a weapon against themselves. They say, if she did this, something must be wrong with me. And slowly, they stop trusting their own judgment. They become paranoid. They become controlling. They become insecure with the next woman. Not because of who they are, but because they never understood this. Her chaos is not your identity. What she did reflects her level of discipline, her values, her emotional maturity, not your worth as a man. Once you see this clearly, you stop asking, "Why wasn't I enough?" And you start saying, "She wasn't aligned with the man I'm becoming." And that subtle shift in perspective is what prepares you for the next crucial reality, the trap of revenge. Why it destroys men faster than betrayal. Another thing that destroys men is the desire for revenge. When she cheats, lies, disrespects you, or replaces you like you never existed, there's a fire that rises in your chest. You want her to feel it. You want her to know she lost something real. You want her to see you win, to regret, to crawl back, to apologize with tears in her eyes. You imagine posting certain things so she sees. You want to talk to other girls just to teach her a lesson. You want to clap back with words that cut as deep as what she did to you. That impulse is ancient. It's your ego screaming, "Make her pay." But here's the problem. Revenge feels powerful in the moment, but it keeps you tied to her. Every move you make to show her is still a move controlled by her. You're not living freely. You're living reactively. And here's where most men fail. They think revenge will give them closure. They think, when she sees me winning, then I'll finally be at peace. But peace that depends on someone else's reaction is not peace. It's dependence dressed as strength. Because what happens if she doesn't care? What happens if she never looks back? What happens if she just continues with her life? Now your entire healing was built on her attention. And you just gave her power twice. Revenge doesn't restore your dignity. It drags you down to the same level of behavior that hurt you in the first place. The moment you start doing things with her in mind, even if it's to get even, you become an extension of her actions. You become the mirror of the injury instead of the master of your reaction. The truth is this: you don't heal by proving a point. You heal by removing yourself from the game completely. Silence is not weakness. Blocking is not immaturity. Walking away without a scene is not softness. It's discipline. It's emotional control. It's you saying, "You got access to a version of me you will never meet again." And that's why the next thing matters even more. Because once you let go of revenge, you finally have energy to focus on the only thing you truly control. How you respond, how you rebuild, how you rise. And that, brother, is where the real story of your healing starts. Taking emotional responsibility, owning your inner world. Another thing we have to talk about, and this one stings, is emotional responsibility. Not responsibility for what she did. She owns that. But responsibility for how you respond to what she did. Most men are taught from childhood to speak like this. "You made me angry. You broke me. You ruined my life. Because of you, I can't trust anybody." It sounds normal, but there's something very dangerous hidden inside those sentences. Every time you say, "You made me feel this," you are announcing to the world, "My emotions don't belong to me. They belong to other people." And here's where most men fail. They think giving someone their heart means giving them full control of their emotional weather. So if she's loving, they're happy. If she's distant, they're anxious. If she cheats, they completely collapse. Brother, listen to me. She might have caused the wound, but if she still controls your emotional temperature 3 months later, you are the one keeping her in power. Taking emotional responsibility doesn't mean pretending you're not hurt. It doesn't mean acting like some emotionless robot. I don't care, I'm fine, nothing affects me. No, that's fake strength. Emotional responsibility means you admit, yes, this broke me. You recognize, yes, I loved her deeply. But then you add, how I rebuild from this moment forward is my decision. Instead of asking, why did she do this? You start asking, why did I give so much of my sense of self to one person? Why did I ignore the red flags? Why did I stay when my spirit already knew something was off? These questions don't blame you. They empower you. Because if everything is her fault, you may feel justified. But you also feel helpless. If you had no part in what you tolerated, then you also have no power to change how you move in the future. And that's why this part matters so much. When you take radical responsibility for your emotions, something powerful happens. You stop being emotionally available to manipulation. She can't use silence to control you. She can't use jealousy games to trigger you. She can't use guilt to keep you. Why? Because instead of reacting blindly, you've trained yourself to pause and ask, what is this really touching inside me? Is this about her behavior or about an old wound in me? Maybe her betrayal awakened childhood abandonment. Maybe it triggered insecurities about your looks, your money, your status. Maybe it exposed that you were building your entire sense of worth on her validation. That's painful to admit. But that's the birthplace of emotional maturity. And here's why the next thing we're about to talk about becomes even more important. Because once you realize your emotions belong to you, you stop building prisons around your heart and you start building boundaries instead. Walls versus boundaries. Stop hiding. Start protecting. Another thing we have is this instinct to overcorrect after we've been hurt. A woman betrays a man once, and he turns his heart into concrete. He says things like, I'll never love again. All women are the same. I don't trust anybody now. I'm done with relationships forever. On the surface, it sounds strong. Inside, it's pure fear. Because what he's really saying is, I don't ever want to feel this kind of pain again, so I'll kill every opportunity for love just to be safe. That's not protection. That's self-abandonment. And here's where most men fail. They don't learn boundaries. They build walls. A wall is built out of fear. A boundary is built out of clarity. A wall says, no one is getting in, ever. A boundary says, not everyone gets in, and not everyone who gets in stays. Walls isolate you. Boundaries filter. Let's make it real. A wall sounds like, I won't open up to any woman again. I'll just have fun and never take anyone seriously. A boundary sounds like, I can love again, but I'm going to watch behavior, consistency, respect, and alignment with my values. If something feels off, I won't stay because I'm scared of being alone. See the difference? One is fear running your life. The other is wisdom guiding your choices. Boundaries start with self-respect. You have to believe that your time, your energy, your attention, your peace are worth protecting. Not everyone deserves access to your late-night conversations, your deep thoughts, your plans, your body, your money, your spirit. When you truly accept that, you stop begging for closure, over-explaining yourself, tolerating disrespect for the sake of love, staying where your intuition is screaming, leave. And here's the key. Boundaries are not punishment. They're not silent treatment. They're not games. They're not about making her chase you or feel small. Boundaries are you saying, I can't control you, but I can control whether you have access to me. You don't need to shout your boundaries. You live them. You show them in how quickly you walk away from disrespect. You show them in how you refuse to fight for a place in someone's life. You show them in how calmly you detach when someone plays with your peace. And that's why the next part is so powerful. Because once you have boundaries, you're ready for the step most men never reach. Living above the offense. Living above the offense. When her disrespect can't touch your core. When someone wrongs you, lies, cheats, disrespects you, replaces you. The offense wants to put hooks in your soul. It wants you to replay it, to obsess over it, to study it from every angle, to keep feeding it with your attention. You wake up thinking about it. You scroll thinking about it. You can't sleep because of it. The offense becomes your roommate. And here's where most men fail. They think constantly revisiting the wound is processing it. But a lot of the time, they're not processing. They're feeding it. Living above the offense doesn't mean denying it. It doesn't mean pretending, it didn't hurt, I don't care, I'm cold now. No, that's pretending. Living above the offense means, I acknowledge how deep this cut went, but I refuse to let it become my new identity. It's the difference between, this happened to me, so now I'm broken, and this happened to me, but I'm going to decide what it does inside me. Offense is like bait. It's always inviting you into bitterness, rage, ego, victimhood. But when you rise above it, you remove the hooks. You say, yes, that was wrong. Yes, that was painful. Yes, you disrespected me. But no, you don't get to own my mind for the next 5 years. That choice is not weak. It's not passive. It's discipline. Because choosing not to be constantly offended when you have every right to be requires extreme emotional strength. You are not saying what you did doesn't matter. You're saying what you did will not define me. There's a quiet authority that comes with that. You're not shouting. You're not doing drama. You're not proving anything. You're simply refusing to let someone else's immaturity decide your emotional quality of life. And when you really internalize this, you begin to realize something. Not every insult requires an answer. Not every disrespect needs an argument. Not every betrayal needs a speech. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not react, not explain, not chase, just reposition yourself. You stop taking everything personally. Because you see that a lot of people are speaking from their own wounds, their own trauma, their own confusion. And this is where real sovereignty begins. When you know who you are so deeply that another person's weak behavior doesn't shake your core, you're not above them as a person. You're just above the emotional trap. You choose peace over always being right. You choose your future over dragging out the past. You choose healing over rehearsing the hurt. And that leads us into the final part. Because all of this, responsibility, boundaries, living above offense, comes down to one thing. Who are you going to become because of what happened? Don't let what she did decide who you become. Life will bring betrayal. Women you trusted will sometimes hurt you. Women you loved deeply might choose someone else. Women you would have done anything for might walk away like it meant nothing. That's reality. But listen carefully, brother. Your power is not in stopping people from doing you wrong. Your power is in deciding who you become after they do. You can let it consume you. You can let it define you. You can let it harden you into a man who no longer believes in love or himself. Or you can choose a harder path. Recognize betrayal for what it is, without letting it shatter your identity. Refuse to drown in bitterness, even when revenge looks tempting. Take radical responsibility for your emotions instead of giving that power to her. Use the pain as fuel, not to flex on her, but to rebuild your life with more clarity, strength, and self-respect. Build boundaries that protect your heart without burying it. Live above the offense, refusing to stay small because someone else acted small. It's not easy. It will cost you your ego, your victim story, your desire to always be the good guy who never walks away. But the reward? Emotional freedom, inner strength, self-respect that doesn't bend for anyone. You may not be able to control what she did, but you can always control what that story will mean in your life. So if a woman cheated, disrespected, abandoned, or betrayed you, don't let this be the chapter where you die emotionally. Let it be the chapter where you wake up. Don't beg. Don't chase. Don't drown in self-hate. Just do this. Rise, heal, grow, upgrade your standards, guard your peace, walk forward with dignity, not bitter, better.